Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
What's up, Coach? Are you looking for a way to elevate your off-season skill development? Well, look no further. With the Bology app, you can build a workout with our library or create your own content. Send that workout to your players, and then your players complete the workout by recording their session on their phones. You can monitor and encourage competition with our leaderboards for every workout. Bology offers player development solutions in the palm of your hands. Get your team started today by going to bology.com for more info.
I was thinking a lot about this talk and some questions for you. And usually we talk about things like culture, habits that you have. And I think we'll dive into that a little bit. But one thing that your players said quite a bit, and I think maybe you had said it too, is when reporters or somebody would say, you know, being an underdog. And I think Jack Golke was definitely outspoken in saying, we're not underdogs. Is that something that just the players felt? Is that something that you spoke to them throughout the year?
No, I think that we believed that we were a really good basketball team. We had a really tough non-league schedule, and we went through it. We opened at Ohio State, and we kind of got, we got a bad deal at the end of that game with a call, and Golke should have been at the line shooting 2 free throws down 1 in the last minute. Instead, the ball went to them, and Ohio State made a 3 on the ensuing inbounds play. I think we led for 30 to 35 minutes of that game. 2 or 3 nights later, we went to Illinois, and Illinois is one of the hardest places in the country to play. The place was full, and we're tied with 5 or 6 minutes to go in that game. And then 3-4 weeks after that, we beat Xavier at Xavier, and no non-league team wins in the Cintas Center. So we knew that we could play with anybody. We knew we were as good as anybody. And the way we played in the Kentucky game, I think, if you really were to go back and analyze that game and take the fandom out of it, and that, it was one heck of a basketball game. I mean, I know the Kentucky faithful were upset with Cal and all that, but Kentucky played pretty darn good basketball game. I don't think their star guard did, but they, as forget his name, number 3, but the rest, I mean, their senior had an unbelievable game, and it was the last 6 minutes of that game was back and forth. Both teams made every shot. Teams made plays, and it was a heck of a basketball game against 2 really talented teams. And I think that's what our guys were. They didn't want to labeled as, some Cinderella that got lucky. And I think we proved it against NC State.
Yeah, no doubt you did. And you're right on the money with what that game looked like. It wasn't like the superior team just had a horrible night. I mean, they were making shots. It was back and forth. Both teams, it was exactly what March Madness, and what guys that love basketball, like that's what you watch it for. And just to see the passion of your players, but then the control that you had too. There's a moment in the game where your players are maybe starting to sense the fact that they've got it. And they maybe, Coach, were looking out at the crowd wanting to enjoy that moment a little bit. But what a great example that you had in there of keeping them in the moment, keeping where their feet are and focused. That's hard for me to do at a small private school in high school. How'd you do that on that stage?
Well, I saw DQ Cole. He made an unbelievable 3 to, they had cut it to 2, and with 18 seconds to go, I think DQ caught the ball with 2 seconds on the shot clock and buried a 3. And we came down and got a stop at the other end, and that's when he started celebrating. We had a large contingent of people. Pittsburgh's about a 5-hour drive from our campus, so there was a large group of fans there, and he was over starting to wave at them and get them going, and I didn't like that at all. I called him over, and Rocket Watts knew I was upset, and he kind of jumped in too, and I just basically, I also realized I've seen too many games where you can be ahead by 4 at the free throw line with 18 seconds. I think we were up 4 with 18 seconds to go at the free throw line, and look, you can lose that game now.
Yeah.
And So I just, I wasn't happy. There were a few swear words probably came out of my mouth, and then I
Coach, we didn't
realized,
see that. We didn't
you know,
see that at all.
but I did
But
realize that, I mean, I had DQ's attention, and he,
yeah,
he was a kind of a panicked look on his face that I was upset with him. So I kind of made a joke, about it then I yelled, I said, DQ, act like you've been here before, even
yeah,
though we never have,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and so everybody started laughing, and that got us back grounded. And we did our celebrating, privately. I'm not a big, show the opponent up,
Yeah.
celebration guy. I think you should be excited that we won that game. But if you truly expected to do it, then act like it.
Yeah, it goes right into the we're not the underdogs. I think underdogs act shocked like they can't believe that what just happened, and your guys did. They handled it with so much class and honored Kentucky at the end, the way that with the way that you guys finished and handled that. And but in that moment too, where it's just funny for me and kind of being a fan now, getting to talk about all these things that I watched with you. You jumped on them, and I personally, I felt like I totally understood, like, this is not finished. There's enough time left. That's the whole thing too with, do you foul or no foul at the end of a game with about 3 seconds or left? Well, if you do foul, there is a chance that they can beat you. If you don't foul and they shoot the three, it's a tie and you go to overtime. So if there's a chance, you got to be prepared and ready. I love that moment though, because it seemed like your players quickly realized maybe their error. They realized how serious you were, but then the way that you guys came together, I think it said a lot about your culture.
Yeah, I mean, you don't win a game like that against that level of competition against a team that played that well in the game,
Yeah.
unless you firmly believe in yourselves. And we were a team that, in this day and age, was very unusual in that we were a selfless group of young men that had no ego, that had no entitlement, that only cared about winning, and that it's funny when you say that, because in a meeting today with one of the players that's coming back, that came up, well, we can be better than we were last year, and his comment was, well, if we go about our business the same way. And so even the players knew and understood that this was very unique, that today, with all this me first generation and this, what's in it for me, for them to give all that away so that they could create this team that could win the way we won, even they knew it. And that's what made them so special. And for me as a coach, it made going to work every day. There isn't a coach in the country that doesn't go into work at least once or twice during a season not happy with, their job, this team, this way this group's going about their business. That our job's very, very difficult. And Joe Public, Joe Average, they think we have the greatest job in the world, right? We get to stand on the court, scream at officials, yell at players. We're on TV. We get to stomp our foot and things like that. But what Joe Average doesn't understand about our job is we played 36 games this year, and each game's about 2 hours. So that's 72 hours all year that we're actually on the court, stomping our foot on TV, doing all the quote fun things that you get to do. The rest, 76, 72 hours out of, 365 times 24 isn't a lot of hours. And it's those other hours that, our jobs, it's just a very difficult job to do. And so to be able to go in every day like that and not one time have that feeling of, why am I doing this? Was just a godsend for me at my 40th year of doing it, to have a team like that makes life so easy and so much fun. I feel like I was the blessed one. I was the one that was fortunate to be a part of this group.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.